Yo, what's up, everybody? This is your Coach Renz, and we're going to take a few minutes to break down the character of Killmonger. Now, we're going to break down some other characters in other videos, so we're going to take a few minutes just to break down Killmonger, his personality, his attitude, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the whole thing. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy as to some people saying who was right. Was it T'Challa or was it Killmonger? You know, which one had the people's interest, best interest? You know, so we're going to look at the good and the bad. Now, the first thing I want to say is that neither one of them would have made a good king in that instance of the movie, because both of them had a journey to go through. So I'm only basing this on this particular movie. We'll have to see how it goes in the second and the third installments, but just this particular one, the motive, the motivation, and the thought process and the plan. And we're going to bring it, since people want to bring this into real world, we're going to bring it into a real world kind of scenario of the possibility, right? Of the possibility. Now, in that aspect of it, I'm going to be speaking from my Marine Corps background, all right, and my historical studies. So the first thing, let's get an understanding of the character of Killmonger, not the comic book character, because the comic book character is different than the one that was in the movie. In the movie, you have a little kid who's living with his father. His father is against the isolationists and not helping and assisting others, other oppressed people throughout the world. So he's going against the isolation rules of Wakanda. As a kid born and raised in America, his mother is not with him. Killmonger has to deal with his father being murdered by his uncle, right? By his brother, rather. By his brother. Well, it is his uncle. It's Killmonger's uncle. And so by doing that, he develops this vengeance, this desire to seek revenge for his father, but also he realizes he carries the mantle now of his father. He has the same ideas and thought process of his father. Now he goes through it a different way. He goes and uses all the tools. He goes and learns exactly everything, how to fight war, how to do counterterrorism, how to disrupt the government. He pretty much learns all the military CIA techniques in order to disrupt and take over a country. And that's what he does in Wakanda. He utilized their own laws against them in order for him to take over and become king. I had no problems with those aspects of his planning. I had no problem with that aspect of his character. I did not see him as the villain in that, because he was well within his right as a prince of Wakanda to be able to challenge for the throne. So I didn't see any problem with that. He did that right. Now, the only thing he did that was messed up, which is a Hollywood thing, is that he threw T'Challa off the cliff. Why does every villain in the movie never ensure that their victory is complete? They always throw them off a cliff. I'm going to assume that they're dead. We're going to bury them in a cavern and assume that they're dead. There's always this assumption that they die. Why you got him on your shoulder, throw him off a cliff? He's stacked there. Take something, stab him, cut off his head, cut his throat. Then you know he's dead. Okay, so people who are saying that he won fair and square, no, it's a fight to the death. He did not ensure death. Everybody assumed death. So it wasn't over. The fight wasn't over. So the challenge wasn't over. So that's why I won't say that he won it fair and square, because he didn't complete the task. And if you listen to any of my business videos, you know I talk about you got to complete the task. You got to finish the drill, right? In the Marine Corps, we don't assume somebody's dead. You make sure they're dead. It's just how it works. So I'm watching it. I understand that, but it's Hollywood. You know, the hero journey. You know, he's king. He's great. He's a hero. He defeats some little low-level people. Then he fights a big challenge that almost kills him or gets him close to it, and he loses. Then he comes back, you know, learning the lessons, and then he wins. That's every movie. So that aspect of it, y'all need to stop arguing. That's a movie, okay? They're not gonna ever, it's rare that the villain wins, right? Whoever they decide as the antagonist. Now, but I'm not calling him a villain in that respect. Now, where he goes off the rail is his impatience to truly become a king of Wakanda, to bring them out of isolation, and to truly help oppressed people. You see, if he had spent that time in the military and learned all that counterterrorism, one of the things you will learn the history of other militaries and other countries and other rebellions and things like that. you would learn that it takes time to develop a rebellion. Even the rebellions in Haiti took time to develop the people and develop the system and the supplies. They didn't just wake up one morning and everybody picked up weapons in Haiti and then revolted and killed and kicked out all them French Canadians. It took time. It took time for them to build up to it. In South America, the slaves who were running away and hiding in the Amazon, and the ones who developed capoeira, they did this. It took time for them to develop it. Even in Birth of a Nation, they showed how it took time for the revolution to develop. The Black Panthers, who in the 1966 and 67, 68, they took time to develop the community before they revolted. So Killmonger didn't take time to develop the people. You see, he may have had contacts to distribute the weapons, but if you distribute the weapons throughout the ghetto, throughout the oppressed area, the first thing those people are going to do is turn those weapons on themselves. They're going to turn their weapons, they're going to rob themselves, they're going to destroy their own neighborhoods, they're going to rob people that are next door to them. They're not going to all of a sudden organize. You see, you can't just distribute the weapons. They're not going to organize. And then the military and the police and government, they're going to confiscate some of those weapons. And as they confiscate them, they'll study them and they'll turn them back on to the people. They'll find some facsimile of it, some similar version of it, and they will turn that on to the people. If you want to start a revolution, you have to first organize the people. The American Revolution, although greatly outgunned and outmanned and didn't have the exact same technology as the Brits, or the training as the Brits, they had time. They organized. It was over years. And even after the Declaration of Independence, you have to understand that they may have started the war, but it took England like months and months on months, like 3, 6, 7 months to get more troops to the Americas, to the colonies, so that they can then fight the American Revolution. So that gave them time to develop and convince people and train people. If I was Killmonger, and with my military background that I have, if I was Killmonger, then yes, I would have had those distribution points, but those distribution points would have been inciting people to recognize how oppressed they were, would have been training them in military combat. I would have been working to destabilize each of the G6 countries so that the oppressed people can then mobilize and fight against them. But you have to take that time. I'm not talking, this is not a 1-year journey here. This is 3, 4, 5, 10, 20-year journey. So as king of Wakanda, he could have taken that journey. And even if he wanted to do it differently, the other way that I would have done it is that if I'm the king of Wakanda, and the other way that I would have began to mobilize, and this is like a 30-year plan probably, is that I would first conquer my neighboring, first I would unify all of Wakanda, then I'm going to conquer my neighboring countries, then mobilize those people, get them ingrained into our society, mobilize them, and then conquer all other nations around us. And before 20, 30 years, I've conquered all of Africa. Now, at some point, the world is going to try to come against you. When the world tries to come against you and you've been seeding disruption within the minority groups, within the oppressed groups of those countries, then you can activate them. But see, when the world is coming against, I'm letting the world know that we're liberating people. First, people I'm attacking are the ones who are capturing these African women and putting them into slavery, and these people like the people in Libya being sold as slaves. First, I'm going to liberate and take those countries so I don't look like too much of the bad guy in the world scene, because it's like I'm doing what the other countries won't do. I'm doing what America won't do. I'm doing what Russia won't do. I'm doing what England won't do. I'm doing what Australia won't do. I'm doing what China won't do. I'm doing what they won't do. And I'm showing that I'm liberating people and freeing them and giving them a better life. Now, once I start really conquering, then they're going to say, oh, whoa, you're becoming this nation. You're becoming a force, because they're not trying to, they won't try to stop you because you're liberating. They won't try to stop you because you're becoming a force to reckon with. So that's when they'll try to stop you. And that's when they'll try to bring the world's power against you. And that's when you activate the other people, creating insurrection within their own governments so that they're easier to fight off. Make them come fight you on your grounds, on your territory, based on your conditions, your decision. That's Art of War, Sun Tzu. Make your enemy come to you and fight how you want them to fight. And then with your superior technology, and now you got enough people because you conquered enough other countries, and do like the Greeks and the Romans and Hellenize them and make them part of your group. Do like the Moors and make them part of your people, so that they become Wakandans. All are Wakandans and all give rights and privileges and that sort of thing. That's where Killmonger went off. He wanted to hurry up and just give weapons out without training and organizing the people, without even the country that he's the king over being prepared to help defend those people in such a way that you can, over the course of time, win. Now, I'm not for war. I'm not for oppression either. I could never have marched peacefully, because if you stick a dog on me, I'm killing the dog. You spray me with a water hole, I'm trying to get to you so I can kill you. You're not gonna come with me with a billy club and try to beat me, because I'm gonna beat you back. You burn down my house, I'm burning down 10 of your houses. You kill my child, I'm killing your whole family. So I'm not that type. I'm not that type to go and be all kumbaya with people who are trying to oppress me. By whatever measure you come at me, I'm coming back at you the same way. So now if you come at me and you honestly want to work with, we can work. We can work. If you coming at me man to man, human to human, woman to man, I'm going to give you the same respect you give me. But if you coming at me and you want to oppress me, you want to push me, you want to hold me down, then I got to fight you. I got to fight you. By whatever method you fighting me, trying to oppress me, I got to fight you back. I got to fight you back the same way. You fight me economically, I'm fighting you back economically. And I think that's the battle that we have to have. That's the part of Killmonger he wasn't thinking. He was just thinking wartime. He didn't have the war plus politics side. And then when we look at, and one last thing, when we look at history, they said, not this time colonizer, right? Remember that line, not this time colonizer? I think it was a brilliant line. I love the line. But we have to think about this. Anytime the colonizers came, they didn't come peacefully. They didn't come to the Native Americans with love. They didn't go to Africa with love. They didn't go to India with love, or China with love. They didn't go to Australia with love. They came there in violence, but they came there with organized violence. When the Brits showed up to India, they showed up militaristically. That's how they showed up. That's why I say Killmonger wasn't thinking militaristic. See, he's thinking special ops because he was a special ops guy. Nothing against all my special ops people out there. Nothing against my special ops people. But special ops people, they're more surgical. But a revolution is a broad stroke. Special ops people, they use a scalpel to surgically cut through. While revolutions is a baseball bat up against the side of your head. So when it comes to revolution, you gotta have a baseball bat and you bashing people upside the head. That's the mentality. So you gotta come politically, you gotta come economically, you gotta come with environmentally, agriculturally. You have to come with many different mechanisms in place in order to start a revolution, in order to win. And I think his recipe would have brought nothing more than more death and destruction, and probably more oppression, because when the war is over, the loser gets the you catch hell as the loser. And I don't want to be a part of a losing team. So I think Killmonger had the right mindset of, we got to create our leverage, we got to create our respect, and we got to demand it, and you got to be willing to fight and die for it. I respect that part, which is why he is not the villain. All right. I forgot what it's called. I mean, Deadpool, Venom, they're this kind of villain. Anti-hero. He's the anti-hero, right? You agree with him? Yes, he's a little rough. But I just think his plan was off. His process was off. And there was a better way to organize a revolution, a worldwide revolution of oppressed people. And he wasn't willing to take the time. Patience was his enemy. Patience was his downfall. The lack thereof. So that's my little short breakdown of Killmonger. let's talk about it. Please share and let's comment. I know some people are going to agree, some people are going to disagree, but that's the beauty of it. And as far as real world, a country, like I said before, I said this before, I don't know if I said this in the video or not, but I've had this discussion with many people multiple times throughout the last 20 years that if there was like a rebellion in my city in Atlanta, right, and I was still in the Marine Corps, you give me a battalion of Marines fully armored and mechanized with air support. There's 3 million people in Atlanta, and me and my battalion, my 1 battalion with a weapons platoon, we could take this whole city, choke out the city, take the city, and the people won't know what hit them. The amount of armament that would be coming. Now I understand they have advanced weaponry. He's giving out this advanced weaponry, but even with advanced weaponry, right? If I know you're in a building, and I send I got a jet that's 5 miles away, it launches a rocket, it blows up the building. Your advanced weaponry didn't mean nothing. It didn't mean nothing. Because I blew you up from 5 miles away. I'm shooting artillery shells, you know, from a mile away or 2 miles away. When my fire teams come through, they got I don't know if they still use AT-4s, and I don't know if they still use 2 or 3 grenade launchers, but we got Mark 19s. I'm popping grenades from 5 football fields away. So you have to contemplate. We don't contemplate all that. We just think close armed combat. Close armed combat, you got advanced weaponry, sure, you got a better shot. But if I'm blowing you up and you can't even see me, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You're gonna lose is what you're going to do. I'm gonna demoralize you because I'm just dropping bombs and you don't even know where they're coming from. You don't know which way to go. I've blown up all access in and out of your area. You don't know where to go. You can't get to the food or the water. I done turned off all the water, right? You can't get to it. I've choking out all the food. You can't get food. You don't know how to farm. You don't know how to grow stuff. You don't know how to do vertical farming in a building. I've taken all of that out. I've cut you off of communication. So how you're not talking and communicating with other people, right? I'm blowing up all the satellites. I'm blowing up all your lines of communication. I'm cutting all that. I'm cutting your power. I'm going to where all the little power stations. I'm blowing all the power stations, cutting them off. You can have the advanced weaponry, but you got to be organized, is my point. You have to be organized. And in today's world, this is not like the 1800s. Today's world, things are more organized, mechanized, and access. And I can get a battalion of Marines can show up in Atlanta in 2 days or less. 2 days or less. Not like with the Brits, where it took them 6 months to get people here. 2 days or less. And a battalion of Marines, fully armored, mechanized, is here. The bombing starts immediately. You can start bombing immediately with planes. That's day one. So I don't think that's the part of not thinking it through. That's the part of not thinking it through that killed Killmonger. You know, but as far as the movie goes, I love his character in the movie. I don't think that he's going to be dead. I figure they're going to bring him back somehow because he's too good of a character. You know, too good of a money-making character at that. So I know this went a little bit longer than I anticipated, but you guys have a great one. The next one I'll probably break down T'Challa, and we'll go from there. So y'all have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable.